welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. We are coming to you from the Kampala Serena Conference Center, Nile Room. And tonight we'll be talking about compliance in business registration. Tonight's show is done in collaboration with the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, URSB. Very quickly, I'll introduce my guests for this evening. I'll start with Mr. Abel Mwesije, who is the CEO of Kasita. He's sitting right next to me. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, and next to him is Mr. Hamidu Tumuhimbise, who is the legal officer of URSB. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Josephine.
All right, well, let's say it as it is. Like I said earlier, our conversation tonight is going to be on compliance in business registration. For those people who either have businesses already or are thinking about doing business, or whichever way you look at it, business is an important thing for almost everybody. So that's why we're having this conversation. But as we start, why is it important that we have a conversation on compliance in business registration? Why is compliance important? I'm not going to pick on anybody, so whoever is ready.
Thank you, Josephine.
Yes, Amit.
Maybe to appraise all of us, having a business is like having a child, a baby. So when you give birth to a baby, you don't stop there. You look after them when they're still babies.
You have to go and get a birth certificate.
Yes.
Okay.
You give birth, you have to go to the hospital. Actually, you start with antenatal. And there's antenatal, you give birth, take care of the hospital bills, baby grows, you have to go to the kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, university, and in between there you have to go to the hospital, there's a cold here, there's a cough.
Immunization.
So, immunization. Having a business is like having a baby. So the things you keep doing for a baby are the same things you keep doing for a business. And that's compliance. Compliance is more of a legal term, that you have to comply with this because there are rules put in place for you to follow.
Okay.
That's why you call it compliance. So, like every baby, for your business, you have to comply with certain requirements.
Okay. Yes. And let me do you from URSB. Yes. Just give me a brief about the work that URSB does. I know we have a general idea, but tell us something we don't know.
URSB stands for Uganda Registration Services Bureau. In the year 2012, it got the autonomy created by a statute of parliament, and we are responsible for the registration of all businesses. We register all the legal documents. We do register copyrights, intellectual properties, all intellectual properties, including trademarks, all the neighboring, they are called neighboring rights,
okay.
Music, we do all that registration. So basically we are charged with the responsibility to register.
Okay.
Yes.
You're the registration people.
Yes.
And Kasita?
Thanks, Josephine. Abel Mwesije, CEO of Kasita Uganda. Glad to be here. But when we talk of compliance, and how stricter we go to business, compliance works in every setting, whether in a family or a gathering, you know. But in business, basically we as the business people, we are always looking at growth, maximizing profits, stability, and then continuity, sustainability of the business. Okay. So when we talk of compliance, for example, registration is very key. Why is it very key? Today, as Kasita Uganda, for you to become a member of Kasita Uganda, one, you have to have a legally accepted business. Okay. So when we talk of legally accepted business, that means these are the processes that we are advocating for. So that at one time, for me to enable you grow, I must be secure.
Well, you said for you to be a member of Kasita, and then I asked myself, why would I want to be a member of Kasita?
Of course, Kasita Uganda, we've now stood for the last 18 years as a business support association. And we do quite many, we have a lot of services that we do offer to the business community. And our membership actually ranges from individual to corporate to business associations that do subscribe as associates, both local and international partners. And so what we do, the services that we do offer, they do vary on an individual basis. You might be having business challenges. Now what we do, just the way you hosted me alongside URSB, where you can't find URSB, you find it easy to come to Casita because these are our partners, okay? So we build that confidence between you, our members, and all other entities that you might require. Okay. So for us to do all that, you have to be complying to the regulations, or even business-wise.
That you must follow.
Yes.
Okay. So when we were speaking earlier to the studio audience with Hamidu, and someone said, "But may I have what was it? Popcorn? A popcorn stand?
Yes.
If I have a popcorn stand, do I have to register my popcorn stand? What kind of businesses should be registered, or do you register?
Well, we register very many firms, but they are basically categorized into two.
Before you get into the two, the popcorn person wants to know.
Exactly.
Do they have to register?
That's where I'm coming, Josephine.
Okay. Okay.
So we have the businesses that have gained a beef, a muscle, and they would take an example of a company. They would fall under that category of a company. But then we have the small businesses. For example, a small shop, an airtime shop, a mobile money stall. Those are small businesses, and you don't expect a person to open up a company to run, for example, a popcorn stand. So those ones, the law asks us to register them as a business name.
Yep.
And a business name is a style, a name and style in which one is running their business. So a popcorn stall would best fit in a business name.
Okay, and the business name, give me an example, would be?
It can be...
Okay, maybe Josephine, from my own experience in business, if you have a popcorn, by the time you start that popcorn store, you have a vision where you want to actually go. Most of these people that start up with these popcorns and these small things, they have very, very big visions to have companies, but you cannot wake up one morning and you form a company. Now, if you, for example, I have in my membership as well, assuming he's Collins, he's going to call his popcorn store Collins and maybe company, and it is just a business name. You don't need to register as a company. But Collins and company is a business name that you're going to register with the RSB. Now what is going to happen is, one, you're going to get mentorship, business mentorship. By the time you have a business name, that means you really want to grow. So it becomes very easy. After having that business name, then what else? Now, we start mentoring you, enlarging your vision. So from this business name, would you want to grow if you have maybe one outlet of the popcorns? Okay, can you have maybe two? Okay, alongside the popcorns, can you introduce some other business lines still in your business name? You're growing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And tell me about the other forms or types. Hamid.
The other form is what he mentioned, a company. That is for people who have bigger capacity than just merely a popcorn stand.
You're saying just merely, this is somebody's...
No, because from the inception,
okay,
we think we have a feeling that a popcorn stand is not a business registrable. Yet, in the eyes of the law, and for a business person like Casita, it is a bigger business because of the vision behind it, the idea itself.
Yeah.
You look at growing, you don't look at what you have in place. You look at if I start with this, how big will I be tomorrow? So that the bigger aspect of the business name is what can be registered as a company.
Okay.
It is also okay and healthy for a popcorn stand owner to start his business by registering a company. If the vision is well built, that after 1 or 2 years it will be a bigger business and that can fit in the description of a company.
Right.
Josephine, here is a very, very quick example. You have a popcorn. We are just using a popcorn. When you have a popcorn and you register it not as a company but a business name, it becomes easy for you, for example, to start supplying small. If you supply these popcorns to a supermarket, this supermarket will want to give you a barcode, for example. Now, by the time you're eyeing the barcode, then your vision is actually growing. Yeah. You understand? When you go to a supermarket and you have a business name, one, he has the confidence that, look, you really have a vision. You're consistent. I should be working with you, other than someone who is not recognized.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. It gives you a bit more trust. and
Exactly.
clout. I know that there are companies limited by shares and companies limited by guarantee.
Yes.
Talk to me about those ones.
We have two different kinds of people in society. We have people who look at charity work, and we have people who look at doing business to
Make
get
money.
profit, to make money. So the law creates an avenue for persons who want to do charitable work. Yes, for you can register a company, but a company limited by guarantee, not shares. Now in this company, your objective is basically to provide works, services, help, name it, to the community.
So this is where you find churches and NGOs and
Exactly, that's why you find NGOs, you find the humanitarian organizations. We have companies that look after the child, they are called homeless children. We have companies that look after the orphans.
Okay.
Name it.
So those are guaranteed.
Yeah, they are guarantees
And
for
shares?
them. For them, we don't. We look out for their objectives and make sure that they are not profit oriented. They are not profit oriented. Whatever you're doing is not for to generate money, and they survive on grants and aids and donations.
Okay.
Yes.
What other services besides just registering businesses do you offer?
Like I said, a business is like a child, so we still give the other services of immunizing, daycare, and all that.
Okay.
So we have services like certification of documents. Ebo earlier said, if your vision is big, you're gonna get where you want to go very early. So what happens, for example, if you start with your popcorn stand and tomorrow you want to get a loan from the bank to expand your business, trust me, the bank will ask you for certain documents. So we do the certification of those documents.
Sure.
To start with, we'll certify the initial documents that you use to register. So we give the certification of documents. We do the registration of other individual documents like agreements, like powers of attorney. We do constitutions. People who have started associations, the investment clubs, they are required to register the bylaws that bind them. So we do register all of those. Basically, that's what we do.
You do marriage certification as well?
Oh, I should have talked about that earlier on what we do. Besides registration of businesses and these other documents, we also register marriages. We have the mandate from the Ministry of Justice to register all the marriages, and we extend that service and the mandate to the CAO, that is the Chief Administrative Officers of all districts. So if you don't want to go to church, you can come and register a civil marriage. And even those marriages that are celebrated between the
in church or the
between
traditional
couples,
marriage?
but in churches and mosques, the Hindu temples, they are all registrable with us.
Okay.
So if you have ever celebrated a marriage and it's not, and you're not sure whether it is registered, the church has to make a return.
Yeah.
Sometime back, you hosted one of our
And I'm going to host him again. It was a hot
Exactly.
topic. This
about
particular-
marriages. So
yes.
marriage is also another hot cake to your recipe.
Okay. No, is yours registered with URSP?
Can we have
Jump
that
in.
afterwards?
Why should someone certify their documents?
Basically, the reason we certify documents is one, to confirm that this is an authentic document, and the same has a copy stored by the government or kept by the government.
So what kind of documents? Because I know that now the universities, if you're applying for something, they'll need a certified copy.
Exactly. So
is that done by you, by the university?
For documents that originate from us, we do certify those ones.
Okay.
But for university transcripts, for example, those ones are certifiable at the institution, at the issuing institution. So a factor
UNEB or
of certification is done. Certification is done by the issuing person. If you got a document from URSB and time for certifying that document comes, you will come to your SB.
Okay.
If it came from Makerere University, for example, time for certification, you go to Makerere University.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. And I know you want to say something. We can start with you.
We offer professional barber, hairdressing at Lugogo Mall, Garden City, Forest Mall, Oasis Mall, and Acacia Mall. Sparkle Salon, professional, affordable, and quality services.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. We're coming to you from the Kampala Serena Conference Center Nile Room, and tonight we're talking about compliance in business registration. You wanted to say something before we took a break.
Yes, thanks, Josephine. I wanted to just supplement on the certification. Just like for business purely. Today, if you have a business name registered with them, it is very easy for you actually to even get a bank loan. But by the time you go for the bank, they actually need to have a certified document. You know, in Uganda, today, things are really weird. If I came to you with two documents, it might be hard for you to differentiate.
We have a certain road, we know.
But if you have a business name registered with URSB, it doesn't take you a minute to just go for certifying, okay? And then the authenticity of whatever you're pursuing becomes very easy.
But how quick is it to have this done at URSB? He says it doesn't take a minute.
In all our offices, which are all over the country, certifying is an instant service. You walk to the counter, find there an officer, your document is certified there and then. You go with it. It's a service. It's not a waiting service. It's an instant service. Just like you walk to the bank till and deposit your money, and you get proof of your deposit.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's take some questions from the audience. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Josephine.
Do you want to be a bit louder so we can hear you?
Thank you, Madam Josephine. I'm Nomi Sobrano from AIU.
Okay.
My question is like, once I register my business, can that registration be revoked? And what are those circumstances that can make it be revoked? Thank you.
Thank you. Though I didn't get your name clearly. But revocation of registration, there are several circumstances, but all of them are caused by non-compliance.
Give me an example.
For example, failure to comply with the requirement of notifying the registrar of companies of your registered address. If you don't notify the registrar of companies of your situation of the registered address, and the default persists after 3 months of incorporation or registration. It's actually, this is basically for companies. Registration takes place 3 months down the road, you haven't returned the notice of your address, registration of your registered address. The law requires that we notify you that if you don't show cause as to why we shouldn't strike your name off the register, then we gazette and then delete your name from the register. That is an example.
Ebo, you're working with business people all the time. Have you seen this happen?
Oh yes, but it's not that frequent, because by the time I have the zeal to do business, then I'm able to actually comply.
But if you've seen it happen even once, I would like to know what happened with this particular person.
In most cases, the good thing is that for registration, you can't be limited on like getting a hurdle to register. But at the back of your mind, you need to understand that we have different reasons why we register business. There are some that register for a cause there and then, something he wants to perform. Then after that, you get my point.
Yeah.
Now, that's why you will even find them talking of filing returns. They need to follow up how the business is moving. At one time, if I've registered as Aber and Company as a business name, and tomorrow I'm using Moesja and Company, but I haven't notified them, but I'm still using the other initial business name, then I have reasons why I'm interchanging and not notifying them.
Okay.
You understand? So at a certain point, that can be revoked.
All right.
Yes.
All right. What are the examples?
The examples, we have non-compliance. Then number 2, we have scenarios where you have, let's say, like you used Ebo and Company, and then tomorrow I also come up with Ebo and Company. So I am compelled, as the subsequent registration, to change either my business name, or we strike out that other subsequent registration. Then I don't know whether by revocation you meant closing a business or terminating the whole registration. We have the first termination, where we have to deregister your name, and then we have scenarios where you want to close your business, and that takes the form of winding up, where you have to wind up the business, and those are matters of insolvency.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. Do we have another question? Yes.
Thank you so
Stand
much.
up so we can.
Thank you so much. This is Anxious from Makere University. Does registration carry the same charges for all businesses, and if no, why? Thank you.
Does registration carry the same charges for all businesses? And if yes or no, why?
No. Different forms or different types of entities carry different charges. For example, registering a business name, like I said earlier, for example, for your popcorn stand, that will only cost you a small fee of 24,000 Ugandan shillings. And then for companies, the charges keep varying depending on how much you think is your nominal capital. So the charges keep varying. And then for non-profit making companies, the company is limited by guarantee. For them, they have a standard figure that you pay. But it's not very expensive. It's about 80,000 plus 35. It's about 115,000. Yes.
But even if you compare the fee that you're actually paying when you're registering, let me give you a scenario. I think it was last year, towards the end of last year, in Chikubo, we had this gentleman who used to import capes, these branded capes. And he had dealt in that business for a long time, but it was not registered. Now what happens, one of the employees actually realized how much the business was
Making.
So what he did, he just went to these guys, registered the name, the business name. And now in this business name, remember you give some particulars of your businesses. Now in some of these particulars, this employee had to mention some of these brands that the boss was actually importing. Okay, this is someone that is already established, has the clientele. Now, after 3 months, this employee goes to the URSB and it's like, because now issues of trademark now do come and copyrights, yes. And you understand? He had the backup because he had registered the business. Nobody would tell that no, this has been there for long. What shows that you've been there for long?
Was he fired?
Of course, even this guy was compensated. The employee was. I mean, the law here applies. He has the backup, he has the certificates, he has everything. So what he did is like, this guy has actually been interfering with my businesses for 5 years. In 5 years, this is what I have lost. Now, what would he do? Compensation.
Yeah, Josephine, it's like,
yes.
It's like if you give birth to a baby, you dump the baby, and then after 25 years, you want to own that baby. You want the baby to call you mama. You get? So you establish your business, it grows through time, and then you have not done enough to own it in terms of the legal ownership. And then after it has grown, because this baby has grown up with a kind mother, Josephine, the one she calls mother, then for you want to come after 25 years and want to own it. So registration is basically like that. That's why we say when you register a business or you create an artificial human being, it is treated as a human being. Even in the courts of laws, if you had issues with the company, you don't sue the owners, you sue the company. Even in the eyes of that. So it's basically that. It's ownership. How do you own your business?
All right. How do you safeguard your ideas?
And
your
how do you
business
safeguard
ideas?
the
Exactly.
ideas?
Okay. The next question.
Thank you very much. I'm Nasul Mwesigwa from Chambago University. My question is, we've seen most companies are registering as non-profitable companies, but as time goes on, they come up do some profitable businesses. And you as URSB have not come up to maybe to work on that or to restrict those companies. What is your take on that? Then next question, what are the circumstances that forces a company into insolvency? You as URSB it forces to close.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I may start with the second question, circumstances under which a company may be liquidated. Liquidation is basically the process of turning assets into cash for either the benefit of the owners of the company or the creditors. So we have two forms. One, we have when the company has incurred debts, quite a number of debts, and it is proved to be unable to cater or pay those debts. So there is inability to pay the creditors. The law requires that one, the company itself, through the owners, may declare that we are unable to pay, so we have to wind up. And the process of winding up, like I said, is turning the assets of the company into the car into money that can be used to pay back the creditors. Then, still under the inability to pay debts, the creditors themselves, the persons who are owed by the business, may go to court and ask court to issue orders that the company be wound up for inability to pay its debts. Then the other circumstance is when you, the persons who are in that business or the owners of the company, choose that actually maybe we have satisfied the objective for this company and we feel we cannot go anymore. Maybe we want to venture separately and you want to part ways. You have to show us that you don't have debts, or if you have any debts, you're capable of paying those debts within a period of 12 months. So there we can proceed and take you through the process of insolvency and you close your company.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Then
just the positive side of it. In most cases, we are interested in seeing companies and businesses declaring insolvency. That is not the best thing that we should be looking at. Now, URSB, they've even gone an extra mile of having these initiatives, engaging the business community, sensitizing them. How do they avoid such insolvency issues, for example?
Do they do this in clusters? So they come to Kasita and say, we want to speak to your business people? Or do you do one-on-ones with people? Do I walk into URSB? If I have my popcorn stall and I want this kind of advice or
you'd still get it.
You'd
So
still get
You
it.
can get it right now.
and the bit about it is, now I'm talking from experience. We do work with them closely. We do organize most of the business entities differently. So we invite them, or they come to us. They're like, now let's have these workshops on this. They have mobile clinics. They're everywhere. So this is actually helping us as business community. There are some that actually go into insolvency and bankruptcy without knowing why. Not planned. Leave alone those people who have reached the apex and they're like, now let's part ways. Okay. No. Yeah.
He said mobile clinics. You have those, for example, at universities. Do you, or is it like?
Yes, we do. We always target, besides our mobile clinics, we have what we call business clinics, where we move and extend the services to the upcountry towns. For example, last week, but one were in Bujiri.
Okay.
And we got a very good number of people. They seem to have the ideas, but they don't know how to put them in place. Now, to Josephine, to add on what my colleague has said, URSB has the office of the official receiver. The official receiver is basically that officer of government charged with the responsibility to make sure that once a business is winding up, all the persons who have debts in that business are paid. That is number one. Number two is to make sure that if there is any possibility this business shouldn't close. We have an example of a business, I don't know whether it is okay to mention it here. We have, for example, a telecom company that was at the verge of going, but to disappoint those who thought it was going, that this telecom company is coming up and with a big hit. So the official receiver is charged with the responsibility of managing a business that is not doing well to make sure that it survives again, or it's called
resuscitated.
Resuscitated.
Okay.
So basically that's it. If you
he asked you another question.
Yes, he had the first question about
yes,
the NGOs. Yes, one, we are charged with the responsibility to register, but other bodies and institutions, for example CASITA, they are charged with the supervisory roles.
Okay, so for example, if there's an NGO that registered as non-profit and then it is making money, because I think that was the question, right?
Yes.
It is making money.
Yes.
What does CASITA do?
No, CASITA may not get in that picture because CASITA does not oversee NGOs.
Who comes in?
So
at
we
that
look
point?
at the institution that overlooks or supervises the activities of the NGOs, and that is the NGO Bureau. That is it's
NGO board?
the NGO body. Yes, it
NGO
was done
board.
into a bureau, I think some year or two ago. So it goes to the licensing authorities. The licensing authority should look at the activities of this organization and determine whether they are still at the initial objective of charitable work or they have ventured into money making.
Is this being done though?
Yes, it is being done. If there is any serious institution in terms of when it comes to awarding, to giving licenses, the NGO board is very serious. They even do physical visits before they give you a license.
All right, let's
Yes.
take another short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We are coming to you from the Kampala Serena Conference Center Nile Room, and we're talking about compliance in business registration. Some quick questions that have come up for you, Hamidu, and I'm hoping we can do those very quickly so we can take two more questions from the audience. One question is, does a company need an address?
Yes, it's a mandatory requirement.
Okay.
Yes, fileable within 3 months after the registration.
And are we talking physical address? Are we talking?
Both
Okay.
physical and postal.
Why should a company appoint directors?
Directors are basically the persons behind the management of a business. So it is mandatory that they have directors.
All right. Can I register a company and later file the address or postal and physical address later?
Like I said earlier, within a period of 3 months, or else there is a penalty.
Okay. Okay. When does a company allot shares?
Allotment of shares takes place within a period of 60 days from the date of registration.
Okay. I was going to ask you, why should a company file annual returns, but then I realized we actually hadn't spoken about it yet. Talk to me about annual returns.
Annual returns are basically forms that contain the information pertaining to the company in that particular year of filing. For example, you want to tell us and the entire society, entire community, Ugandan community and the outside community, that in the year 2017, this is what happened in my company. I had this number of shares taken up by ABCD. I had ABCD as my directors. This was the company secretary. I borrowed ABCD amounts from XYZ banks.
This is how much profit I made.
And not really, except for the profit-making organizations, NGOs, or companies limited by guarantee, and public companies,
Okay.
where it is a mandatory requirement that they give us balance sheets. The rest are information. Yes.
Okay. What's the process of filing annual returns?
We have two processes. We have the physical process where you walk to our office, deposit a form with a payment, and then your annual returns are registered. Then we have the online registration of annual returns,
Okay.
which we shall be soon launching with you people of media, but it is already in place. Yes.
All right. Okay, so I wanted to take 2 more questions from the audience. Yes?
Thank you. By names of Nagawa Daphne. I wanted to know, are the documents produced by URSB categorized under private or public documents?
Whichever document you get from Uganda Registration Services Bureau, we retain a copy. And that copy is a public document for as long as one intending to access it has paid the requisite fees for access, which we call a search fee. So it becomes a public document. That's why one may do a background check on you without knowing, and they know that you're doing ABCD business, so they are going to trade with the right person. So it's a public document.
Daphne, is there something you're hiding? Privacy seems like a key factor.
Maybe, can I just supplement? Maybe Daphne, just for your information, why all documents, actually public documents, is that at any time, whether you or your computer or anyone can walk in, to URSB for any check, any information. For example, if I want to register a business name and I want to call it Daphne and so and so and so, I think it makes more sense for me to go to these people and cross-check. Is this already registered? So as to avoid me registering, then upon reaching these guys, they say, this one already exists. You get the point. And secondly, just the way I told you of what happened to my other business person. If you keep it private, how will they be able to actually know that this is a copyright case? We already have, because it is kept like for your own use. They don't know. So you don't have that safety if it is not public. Yeah.
Okay. Other question?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Rachel Nisima from Kampala International University. My question is, once the business is registered, and then maybe something happens, take an example, financial problems or fire outbreak, and in this case, someone came up with an idea of starting another new business, can I redo the process of registering?
No, you don't. You're talking about a scenario where your documents are destroyed.
No, the business.
The business is destroyed.
Change of business now, right?
You don't need to start a fresh business, a new business, because basically what lives with us in our records is your business name, the company name, or if it's a sole proprietorship, the name itself. So you still own that name. All you have to do is to come up with another idea and carry on the same name, and your business will thrive. Yes.
Maybe for your information, if any of you has ever registered, when you're registering, for example, if you're registering a business name or a company name and you're dealing in popcorns, in the activities, you cannot put only popcorns. You even put many other business lines that you have in mind.
You know,
so it becomes very easy for you to change.
And Josephine, maybe to highlight on that is that the current law is a bit more flexible, that it does not restrict you to one type of business.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can do anything.
Under one business
people have
name.
Like 30 kinds of things they do, from photocopying to oil and gas.
Josephine, today you will find me, for example, I have a company, it's called a group for youth development. You're going to find me in construction because I have it and under my mandate.
Your objective,
if any TV now advertises, maybe tender for supply of station, you will find me there. You understand? So if this business fails, now I don't need to go back. No. Just carry on.
All right, our time is fast spent, but I wanted us to talk about what happens if a company does not comply. But just before we do that, you have branches countrywide?
Yes, we have the main branches in Mbarara, Gulu, Arua, Mbale, and then we have, I think those are called regional offices.
The regional offices, yes.
And then we have the branch offices around Kampala. We have on Lumumba Avenue, on Trade Plaza. We have on Sekaziga House, that is Nakivuo Muse. We have on General Post Office Building. And the main branch, which is at Georgian House on George Street.
Okay.
And then we have, for purposes of registration of businesses, we have officers on more than 46 municipalities So where you find a municipality office, we have a person there to register your business. And for all the divisions of KCCAs, we have a person there to register your business.
All right. And as we close, and this will be my final question to you and your closing remark, what if a company does not comply? Is it penalized? Are there legal implications?
Yes, we have two kinds of penalties. One is where you come to us and you want to, where you're having a burning deal, you want to execute it, and they ask you for documents. You want a registered resolution. So you come to us and we tell you, you know what, you have not filed any returns for the past 10 years. So first file any returns. Now you're missing out on time. You can't meet the other. So that is a penalty in itself. It's a punishment. It's like
you're punishing yourself, basically.
No, exactly. The business owner is punishing themselves.
Yes.
So it's like you have cooked food, and then at the time of serving, they tell you, know what, you haven't fetched water. So you have to first go. By the time you come, the food is cold.
Are there legal implications at any point?
Yeah, the legal implications, they are in twofold. One, like he earlier asked, we can deregister you for non-compliance. Then the second legal implication is a fine that is levied on every person charged with the responsibility of complying with the requirements. Yes.
Okay.
And the fines are big.
Give me what's big? What does big?
Big means in terms of money.
How big?
We have, for example, if you don't notify us that of your address, registered address, after the 3 months, then every person on the board, every member of the board of directors, and the company itself is charged 25 currency points, and a currency point is equal to 20,000. So each person pays about 500,000. Okay. If you're 4, that is a good 2 million. Plus the company 2.5 million.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Your closing remarks.
In my closing remarks, I would want to believe that this time cannot be enough for example, our audience to understand, to interact. I'd like to call upon you. As Casita Uganda, we have quite many avenues where we bring all these partners that you actually need. For example, on the 30th, that is on Saturday. Now, every last Saturday of the month, we have CSR, where basically we bring such people to network. Okay, so I do call upon you, follow us where they have workshops. Please follow them, network. I'm glad that these are young people actually, and please take on the passion. If I can be before you and I'm a CEO of this and this and this, you can. Let's just have that passion. Thanks.
All right. And anything else to say, Hamidu?
To encourage the youth, you have the best ideas of establishing businesses. You can't be like my father, who is in his mid-90s. He may not have any business ideas, but all the business ideas are in your heads. Sit down, start small. Time will lead you to where you want to be.
Sure.
Yes.
All right. Thank you both so much for taking the time to join us, and thank you to our studio audience that participated in our conversation for today. Coming up is NTV Weekend Edition.
Renew your monthly basic bouquet subscription of 18,000 shillings before it expires. Then enjoy 3 free days only on StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.